fill the order, so I'm fine. All right. Oh, okay, fine. All right. So it's good afternoon. Such a great privilege for me to be a part of such a great event with such great names here. I will give you a space to introduce yourself in a minute. And today we're going to discuss or navigate the title of Bringing Innovation into Hospitals. So please, can we start from Professor Chaim?
Thank you, organizer, for inviting me. My name is Chaim Lotan. I'm a cardiologist by training. I was running the heart center in Hadassah Hospital for almost 20 years. Before that, I was in charge in the cath lab. And by that, I was engaged in many startups. After I finished my job as a director, I'm now the Chief Innovation Officer at Hadassah. I'm also running 2-3 startups outside the hospital, which we can talk, and that's how we go from the hospital and to the hospital with startups.
Such a great pleasure to have you, Professor.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm from a small company called AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. Maybe you heard about us. And I lead our business development for healthcare and life sciences startups in Israel. I'm a trained paramedic, but I don't practice anymore for a long time. And I have a decade plus of experience in innovation in hospitals, healthcare systems, mainly around AI, digital health, and the connection between entrepreneurs and healthcare systems.
Have you?
My name is Murshid Farhat. I am a gynecologist and a lawyer, a risk manager and healthcare management specialist. My last position was the CEO and medical director of Asuta Hospital in Haifa. I am a lecturer on AI, legal aspects and risk management aspects of implementing AI in health. And the last years, I came to the conclusion that we need to do more to promote innovation in health. So established a new company, Quantasy, that aims to push and promote innovation in health. I work with healthcare professionals and with management teams of HMOs and with hospitals. Thank you.
Professor Rami Aqilan from Hebrew University, the Faculty of Medicine. I'm expert in DNA damage and understanding molecular mechanisms of cancer, but more recently also interested in gene therapy, working on neurodevelopmental diseases. I'm an entrepreneur. I helped founding a company, gene therapy company, Mazi Therapeutics in San Francisco, and recently founded a company, Invocation, for targeting pancreatic cancer. So working on this bridge between academia and translational research.
All right, such great to have you all here. I would like to adapt like a dual engagement so we can go more dynamic, and the audience is also welcome to engage us. I highlight some questions here, but I would set the scene. Let's assume that we have a hospital like a micro cities, right? They have their own economy, they have their own languages, they have their own transit system of information, right? But while the outside world has moved towards smart cities, many hospitals still rely on an analog way of transforming the information, right? So we're here to discuss this. So, directed to Professor Chaim and Professor Rami, from pinch to the bedside hurdle. We often see a valley of death between a brilliant medical discovery and the lab and its actual implementation in the hospital world. From your dual perspective in clinical innovation and medical research, what is the single biggest barrier to adopt new technology today? Is it like a lack of evidence, cultural resistance, or even infrastructure? What do you think, Professor Chaim?
Well, it's the lack of understanding of the people in the hospital what is innovation. And I'll give you my own experience. I had some ideas, and I thought that you have an idea, and the next day you have an exit. We don't realize in the hospital what it means innovation. And innovation is a subspecialty. I did some innovation in the early days. Luckily, I failed in everything. And I realized that you have to go back to school to learn what innovation is. Because a physician thinks that you can do innovation. You cannot go and finish medical school and be a brain surgeon. You cannot be a physician without any understanding and do innovation. And I went back to Stanford. They have a wonderful system there, which is called biodesign innovation. It takes engineers, physicians, business people, and they make the team. And to be successful, you need a good team, which you don't have in a hospital. And it took years to understand in the hospital that if you have to be successful, you need to build teams within the hospital. Only in the last 10 years, a lot of hospitals in Israel and around the world understanding that actually the ideas are coming from the hospital, but nothing initially was from the hospitals. Now they understand that it's a big business. They understand that you have to build a team. We started in Jerusalem a biodesign team where we take students from Hadassah, physicians, bioengineers from the Hebrew University, business people, give them unmet needs, form teams, and then you can be successful.
So I pass to Professor Rami. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree, but I'm coming from the academia side, and trying a lot to initiate these collaborations between the researchers and the medical side. So I think there's one very important element and pillar here where we really need to make sure that the physicians at the hospitals, they understand the molecular basis of the diseases. And this is where we come as academicians and trying to invest as much as possible in order to equip the physicians with these more basic mechanisms, roots, and elements of what is this all about. It's only when we understand these basic mechanisms, it will be much easier for us to translate to the next level and to make the innovations. And here I want to emphasize that for us as a community, for example, in East Jerusalem, it is really required and mandatory to have our physicians, our medical doctors, to also get exposed to research and molecular basis of diseases. I mean, I know that in residency, always in the, at the Hebrew U, but also I think in other parts of Israel, they give the physicians a 6-month internship to do in the research. But this is the 6 months where they spend not in the lab because they are overwhelmed with their clinical work and they just want to write this report and finish this mandatory. But I think this is a big mistake, and this is the opportunity to get engaged. We have this MD, PhD program at Hebrew U, but I'm sure in other universities and in the world, and this is the best outcome you can get from a physician when he or she thinks as a researcher too. So I think this is a very important barrier. There are certainly other barriers that we can think, but understanding the biology behind this disease or this element that you want to fund and innovate is very, very critical.
So if you have the power to change like one barrier, is that what you focus on?
Well, from my perspective, I would invest a lot of it. Of course, there are other perspectives which I totally agree with.
Yep.
But I think this is a very central element that we, as a scientific community and entrepreneurs, want to make sure that this is a path, a track that we take forward.
That's interesting, yeah. So let's pass to Daniel Rapina and Murshid Farhat. Let's say innovation in 2026 is not just about a new medical device, right? It's about data, it's about AI. So Daniel, please, from a cloud infrastructure standpoint, and Dr. Farhat from an AI-driven startups perspectives, how do we ensure that hospitals have the digital backbone necessary to support those innovations without compromising patient privacy or creating data silos that no one can access? Daniel, please.
Okay, Moshe, do you want to start? Okay. So I will let you discuss all the legal and the patient side, and I will stick to the technological aspects. So I think basically what we see now is that you can't really develop a new medical product without some access to real-world data. I guess that's what this question is about.
Right.
So what we see is that the pace of change and the pace of integrations to external products gets like faster and faster. And in order to do that, we need to take a legacy system, which is a hospital, and take it 20, 30 years forward in time into a place where it could easily integrate and to be scalable in its infrastructure, compute infrastructure, in order for it to really connect with external, for example, Gen AI tools, which is now the current hype. In order to do that, usually what happens is that the traditional IT need to transform themselves from operating locally to operating on a larger scale operation, and this is something that companies like ours do, but others also. And then you can provide central governance for your data lake in order to both control the privacy, security, and the ability to integrate with external products, and that's the most technical thing I think you'll hear in this panel, and Moshe, to you.
Professor Moshe.
Thank you. It's really a great question. First of all, I think that the managers, the leaders of hospitals are lagging behind. They are not aware enough that they have gold in their hands, which is data. Data is the new petroleum of the world, because companies developing AI algorithms need real data. They need our data of the hospitals. I agree with Professor Lotan. Our leaders in the healthcare system are not aware enough, at least part of them. Now, making this data available, okay, for AI companies, okay, is very important, and I believe it is the new economical growth engine for hospitals. Selling services for Kupat Holim is the past. The future is commercializing the data. And this is our contribution to developing the healthcare, not only for getting paid for it, but there is a big barrier. The first one, the awareness. The other one, we must protect this data, and we are not there. We are not there. I teach about the legal problems of using AI in health. If there is a claim against a hospital, whether the hospital used or did not use AI, how do you defend this case? It's very complex, and we are not there yet, but in the States they do, okay, in the United States and some other countries, it's a big challenge. So, our data is not protected enough. We must do something about it. First of all, the regulation is not there. The regulation is lagging behind in Israel and in other countries. And when it's protected by regulation and by security systems, we must make this data available. We had some experience when I was in Asuta, the CEO and medical director in Haifa. We used our data, video films of the operations with Amazon, with a great project. We had many challenges. First of all, doctors did not want part of them to cooperate because of, they say, what are my rights? Okay? You develop AI algorithm, it will be commercialized. So where am I as a doctor? I contributed these 200 operations, bariatric or other, okay? Where's the rest of the patients? Do we have to tell these patients that, look, we are going to use the video of your belly, okay, to make AI algorithm? We have to inform him. If he says no, then what to do, okay? We have to encrypt this data to make it anonymous. What is encryption level that is needed? Okay, we raise it to the cloud. Who is responsible for protecting the privacy of data? In case there is a problem, they will sue us at the hospital. Then we will sue Amazon, okay? Who is responsible? The insurance companies have no policy regarding protecting these cases. Just in the last year, they started to have to sell, let's say, some protection for cases of breach of data, cyber events, AI events, and so on. So there is a lot to be done, but I say yes, this is our treasure, the data for the hospitals, for developing the healthcare, but we must do something to protect it, to do it in the proper way. But the main one is raise the awareness of the leaders of the healthcare about the important use of data, the value of data. I think this is the new petroleum, really. We are not there, but this is the case. It is the growth engine of care. Let's use it.
Yeah.
I would like to add like a small comment. So I think privacy and security is extremely important, but it's also extremely important to not put the boundaries and the walls too high around it, because then what you will get is the opposite of what you wanted, and I think you experienced it in your hospital, that basically if you just open any physician's phone, you will see all the data in the world running through WhatsApp and through personal messages, because it was too difficult to send it through the IT of the hospital because of the security and regulations. So sometimes putting regulation bar too high can definitely create like sideways that will just find their own way, like water, they will find their way to flow. So it's extremely important to walk on this fine line without putting boundaries too high.
Yeah, you know, I agree totally with what you, Professor Farhat, said, because, you know, I'm a surgeon in the first place, so I consider myself as a digital surgeon. I know exactly how to utilize the data, because I use many softwares that actually predict the outcomes before the operating room. So you need to validate the data like an X and Y. If you do the surgery in this way, you will get this result. So you need also to validate the future outcomes. You need to scan the patient before and after. So that's a huge data. So if you don't have the backbone data, it's just like a buzzword. There is no AI. So I agree totally with what you said. So I direct this question, the final one, to the whole panel. As we integrate more AI and automated innovation into the hospital ecosystem, there is a fear that the human element of medicine may be diluted, right? How do we ensure that these innovations actually augment the doctor-patient relationship rather than becoming a screen that sits between them? Especially, how should we of medical professional to work alongside these technologies? Professor Chaim.
Well, as I mentioned, we have programs now at Hadassah.
Professor Chaim.
Well, as I mentioned, we have programs now at Hadassah which are training the physician. We have within the hospital courses that takes from the startup students to teach them what is innovation. And in my way, the most important part is working in a team. I think that the team is the most important. I still remember my late father that used to say 100% of a zero is a zero.
Yep.
10% of 100 is still 10%. As physicians, sometimes we say, I have the idea, I will serve. I think that looking at startups in the future, the most successful ones where you had a very strong team working together. So after you understand the biology and the molecular basis, after you understand the data, the best tip is arrange a very good team, I think. And once you have a very good team, then you can go to places like Amazon and be successful. I think that today more and more hospitals, I see it in Israel, 5 years ago, only few hospitals have tech transfer office and everything. Now every hospital has an innovation office, tech transfer office, teaching medical students and physicians what is the innovation, have money to tell them, if you come at Hadassah and you have an idea, we can give you a seed money, we help you, and we cultivate it like a little flower, and that's the only way to, instead of bringing to the hospital, is taking from the hospital outside.
Yeah, Professor Ram.
So I think the key thing here is that we need to make sure that AI does not stand in between the physician and the patient, right? So we want AI to help, to be behind the physician in order to help the patient, okay? So as any technology, I mean, we want to use technologies to not waste our time on those different variables and, you know, routine work. So we use Excel and we do all the stuff we want by just clicking the bottom, instead of going one by one and making the sum and average and the statistics and so on and so forth. But we want to make sure that when we do this, we turn into really the key thing, which is taking care of the patient, building the trust with the patient, showing the empathy to the patient, right? So AI will support, but it's not going to be in between me and the patient. I'm not a physician, of course, but this is the same when we also do it in the research. So we use AI, we use technology in order to make our life easier at certain aspects and move maybe faster with and efficient with other aspects, which is really getting to understanding better, providing better solutions that we can translate and bring closer to the patient.
So you don't believe in technical singularity?
Well, it's okay. So you can have this in mind, but I think the question is, what is really that we don't want to happen between the physician and the patient, that the patient, I mean, you don't want a robot to talk to you at the end of the day. I want to go to the doctor where I can also see that most of the attention is given to my case, to my question, to my disease. And it's okay that he is using AI, and it's okay that he is getting help, but the main focus is I'm still there, I'm here. This is when we talk about it in the translating the science, is how to make the patient the center of the whole equation here.
Yeah, before my comment, I will be happy to ask the audience, where do you think the most dangerous place now causing harm to the patient? Which part, where it is, do you know? One answer? Where?
Maldiagnosis, you mean?
Okay. As a doctor, a lawyer, and a risk manager, I tell you, it's in the brain of the doctor. Not because doctors are bad people. I am a doctor. Because what we are expecting from the doctors today is impossible. We ask them to gather the data, history taking, physical exam, and other tests, blood tests. We ask them to integrate the data from other sources. We ask them to process the data, to make the differential diagnosis, to look at the data, and to be kind to the patient, and not to make mistakes. No, it's not human to ask the human doctor to do all this, okay? And we also expect him to take care not to be sued by the lawyers, okay? So defensive medicine. So what I think is that using AI will help the doctors to free their time to interact with the patients. I am the AI. I will do it for you, doctor. Okay, help you to gather the data. Okay, integrate the data, process the data. Okay, don't miss taking history about some important parts. Don't miss the physical exam or part of it. Don't miss the last blood results before 2-3 months that you did not see. Don't miss one of the important differential diagnosis, and then what is the correct plan. I will take care of you. I am AI, your co-pilot. Feel safe with me, okay? I will free your time to be a human to the patient. So the interaction will be much more human to human. I don't think there will be a problem with using AI. On the contrary, it will make the medicine much more safe, and we expect the doctor to be a good user of the AI, okay? Use this co-pilot, okay? and free your time for making like quality assurance on the AI. This will be a new profession. Now, you don't know if the AI is doing the right job or not. There are mismatches of the AI algorithms. There are AI hallucinations. If you don't know, sometimes the AI hallucinates. So, yes, when you know as a user, as a doctor, if the AI is hallucinating or if the algorithm is mismatching. So, the new skill of the doctors will be to be a driver of the AI, a supervisor of the AI, to be a good user of the AI, then you will be a much, much better doctor. As a doctor, I tell you, I wish there was a co-pilot AI taking care of me. I will feel much more safe. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Daniel, we have 3 minutes to elaborate.
Great. So I think what we will see in the near future is that the AI is moving from being the co-pilot to us being the co-pilot of the AI, which is already starting. So currently we expect the AI to assist a physician or a nurse or a team member to do something, and later on the AI would be at the front, and we would be the ones that are just guiding the AI to do whatever they want or need to do. And I think we already start to see that. There was a very interesting publication from a company called Hippocratic AI about a year ago, where basically they were comparing the intake process of a conversational Gen AI that they have with a physician or a nurse that was doing kind of like texting with patients on their intake process. And what this publication found was that the outcome, the medical outcome, was exactly the same. It was equivalent between the AI and between the medical team. But what was surprising for me, it was that it was superior in something unexpected. And this is the engagement, the human touch, and actually the how do you move a patient into action, into adhering with your medical recommendations at the end of the intake. And in that, the AI was superior than to physicians. And those are physicians in like clean trial surroundings. It's not even physicians in the real world where everything is messy and everything is hectic and they don't really have the time to be compassionate with the patient. So even then, we saw the AI being superior in something which is crazy. It's in being humane and empathic. So I think that's where we're heading. It will be way more humane and empathic, but not necessarily because a human would be on the other side. And we would be the ones that are making like the top decisions and directing the AI, and it will happen sooner than we think right now.
All right, so we close it sharply. Wow. I enjoyed that to the max. Thank you so much for joining us here. And that's it. Close it. Thank you.
Hello, thank you our panelists. We're going to have 30 seconds for the QR for your feedback. We now move to our final panel titled Economics of Innovation for East Jerusalem. Let's welcome our moderator, Mahmoud Khwais, Mr. Yaron Lotan, Mr. Itzek Fred, Hani Alami. On Zoom, we're going to have Prof. Salim Haj Yahya. Thank you.